Let me welcome you to a video sequence showing our computer simulation LUNARIS in action. What you are going to see now was recorded during a training session for business leadership personnel. I'm going to guide you through 3 individual phases. A project phase 1, followed by a feedback phase, and finally a project phase 2. Let us start with project phase 1. Under training conditions, a project phase lasts for about 60 minutes. The participants are first divided into a group of monitors and a group operating the workstations. The roles are going to change repeatedly during the training. After the trainer has given all the participants a 10-minute introduction to the user interface at the laptops, he hands out the work material. The operating group now has 30 minutes to plan the project. One objective is, for example, to increase revenues and at the same time retain maximum product quality. This phase does not involve the workstations, and the participants must organize and structure themselves. In order to be able to deal with the tasks, each group will have to clearly define roles, act safely in an unstable environment, and communicate efficiently. As you can see quite easily, it is mainly the complexity of the task together with the time pressure that puts the group under strain. Accordingly, a rather unstructured approach is quite typical of this first phase. After these first 30 minutes are over, the group feeds the computer system with the data on which their planning is based. Thus, the computer simulation is activated, and now 1 week in real time equals 4 minutes in simulation time. Every 4 minutes, the system shows the latest status, providing figures, performance graphs, and other graphic elements. This way, the participants can observe the immediate consequences of their decisions at all times. At the same time, the group must manage operational activities, leadership responsibilities, and group processes. After 20 minutes, the current status is presented to a superior. This kind of situation, with very little time for preparation, is experienced as very authentic by many participants. Project phase 1 is followed by a feedback phase. The feedback usually lasts for about 90 minutes. The participants of the group operating the simulation now receive feedback from both the observers and the trainer at an individual and group level. The key issues discussed and reflected now are leadership behavior, communication, performance under strain, intercultural diversity, conflict management, and finally, project management. What we focus on in particular is the actual relevance of the feedback for everyday situations. The feedback ends with a definition of learning objectives for project phase 2 at an individual and group level. The participant in the white shirt, for example, will try to work more on his leadership skills. Let us now take a look at project phase 2. In reality, this phase lasts for about 50 minutes. The participants now continue their project from phase 1, and the focus is exclusively on fulfilling their objectives. As you can see, the planning phase is much more structured now, and the roles are more clearly defined than in phase 1. It is quite obvious that our participant in the white shirt is working on his individual objective too. The advantages of this second phase are obvious. On the one hand, the participants can leverage their individual learning and thus train adapted patterns of behavior in a safe environment. On the other hand, a fusion takes place between successful project management, respectively leadership methods on the one side, and the positive experience of success on the other. This is the foundation for sustainable learning and a long-term transfer to everyday working life. I hope that this video has given you an interesting insight into the actual usage of LUNARIS. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us. Thank you very much for your attention.